Welcome to our 5-minute leadership podcast. We're busy looking at the skills required to lead powerful, strong men and women. And we've seen in this series that every shepherd is obligated to lead the poor and the weak and the needy. But it's a different set of skills that are required to lead strong men, strong women. And so we've been using David as our example in 1 Chronicles 12. And these are the last three points we've taken out of that story. Number one is that when you're leading strong people and they in action and they achieve what they called to achieve, or even just give it a good crack, feedback is very important. In other words, talk to them. Not about the microscopic detail, but talk to them about their goals, their objectives, how things are going. Feedback, even lousy feedback, is better than no feedback for a strong person. Which means phone them, get hold of them. I mean, Jesus, when he sent out the 72 in Luke chapter 10, he waited for them, and when they came back, he adjusted them. He said, listen, you guys are getting excited because the demons are listening to you. You shouldn't be getting excited about that. You should be excited because your names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Jesus gave feedback to his leadership team, and so did Paul. I mean, Paul spoke about and gave adjustments to his team as they were on the way. And we're not talking about criticism. We're talking about just keep the communication lines open, keep the phone calls going. I know a particular guy who's a strong leader, but he's got this terrible habit of not answering phone calls, and when you're craving to get some feedback from, maybe a message you've sent him, he's just silent. And you can play power games like that are not very godly. So number one, feedback. The second one we're going to look at today is not to micromanage them. You want them to set their own goals if you can. If they haven't got the goals and you set them for them, that's okay. But even better still, let them buy into the goal setting. In other words, this is what they're trying to achieve. But don't break it down for them. Don't break it down into a to-do list. Strong people are able to do that. And then don't look over their shoulder. Don't keep checking up. Don't get people to spy on them. You've got to trust them. What David did is he gave raiding bands. He didn't tell them where to go. He didn't tell them how to go and collect their men in the bands. He just said, you're in charge of the raiding bands, go do the job. So for strong people, you need that. Obviously, there needs to be a reckoning at the end of the day when they're held to account for what they've said they're going to do. But that's not micromanagement. And then the very last one is that, which is allied to that, is rather than task them, challenge them. So in other words, you're not saying, I want you to do this. Don't give them a to-do list. What you're wanting them to do is you're wanting to challenge their ability to help win the war, not make them runners in the skirmishes. Rather, give them the idea that they are together with you, generals in the army, winning the war. They'll come up with new ideas. They'll come up with new angles. That's the way you want to run it. So as a church grows, you will depend more and more on strong men and women. If you do it all yourself, your church is not going to grow. And so when that church grows and you're depending more and more on them, here is the fundamental principle that has guided me over the last 10 years. The bigger it goes, the more you've got to tighten the relationships and loosen the functionality. So in other words, tighten the investment that you make into people's lives, invest in them one-on-one, invest them relationally, build friendships, let them know that you love them, you care for them, and release the function to them. If you have a relationship, if you trust them, that'll hold you together. You don't need to be held together by policies, administration, and all sorts of intricate little contracts. Rather, be covenantal in your relationships and loosen up your contracts so that they can get on with the job. Well, I hope that's been useful, this little 4-part series on leading strong men and women. It honestly is a vital skill to have if you want to grow something big.